Hello and a warm welcome to World This Week by Latest Laws. This is a weekly program, so hit the bell icon to get notifications for new videos. My name is Vasvi Bhatia and let's begin with Supreme Court this week. The Supreme Court has set aside Jammu and Kashmir High Court verdict, which had quashed criminal proceedings in a case lodged in connection with alleged misappropriation of government funds in purchase of substandard medical kits under the National Rural Health Mission. The apex court said earlier notices sent to the alleged protesters by district administrations of Uttar Pradesh for recovery of losses caused due to damage of public properties during the anti-CAA agitations in the states have been virtually revoked as the government had enacted a new law. The Supreme Court asked the centre to respond to a petition seeking information about designating protecting officers and shelter homes under the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005 for victims. A man convicted for raping a 5-year-old girl and then killing her by strangulation in Gadag district of Karnataka escaped the gallows, with the apex court commuting his death sentence to life imprisonment with a condition that he will spend at least 30 years in jail without remission. Alleging violence by the Bharatiya Janata Party on its worker in Tripura, the Trinamool Congress moved Supreme Court. The Mamata Banerjee-led party has asked the apex court to issue orders to provide security to TMC workers in Tripura amidst poll campaigning. Assembly polls in Tripura is scheduled to take place in 2023. The apex court agreed for an early listing of plea challenging the invoking of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act provisions by the government of Tripura against 4 lawyers for tweeting "Tripura is burning." The Supreme Court wondered the extent to which it can intervene on environmental grounds when the defense of the nation is at stake. A bench led by Justice D.Y. Chandrachud was hearing a plea against the environmental clearance given to widen the Char Dham roads by felling trees. The court referred to the recent skirmishes on the border with China. Next, we have the Delhi High Court. The Delhi High Court granted the government of Delhi one more opportunity to file a reply on a petition challenging the procedure of issuance of public notice for 30 days inviting objections to the interfaith marriage being registered under the Special Marriage Act. The Delhi High Court, recently comprising of a bench of Chief Justice D.N. Patil, in the case of P. Singh Dhillon versus Delhi Capital Badminton Association and others, stayed the election of Delhi Capital Badminton Association after taking note of the alleged irregularities and allegations of fraud. The Delhi High Court, in the case of Master Arnesh Shaw versus Union of India and another, said that the centre is expected to take steps for transferring to the Rare Disease Fund the unutilized crowd fund amount presently kept with Kerala High Court, which was raised for treatment of a patient with rare disease who has now died. The Delhi High Court, recently comprising of a bench of Justice Manoj Kumar, denied bail to 4 people, including 3 men and 1 woman, who had allegedly defiled the statue of B.R. Ambedkar on the occasion of Independence Day, hurled caste-based abuses and caused injuries to 8 people. Next, we have the Bombay High Court. The Bombay High Court, while dealing with a matter related to the provision for considering a bail application for those offences under UAPA, observed that there must be sufficient reasons for denying a bail application and that must include prima facie evidence that provides beyond reasonable doubt that involvement of the accused is in a crime. Next, we have the Orissa High Court. The Orissa High Court, in the case of Madhusudan Naik versus the state of Orissa, observed that accused can be convicted for rape solely on testimony of prosecutrix if it is trustworthy and corroborated by evidence. Next, we have the Madras High Court. The Madras High Court, in the case of K. Sethilkumar versus the Principal Secretary to Government of Tamil Nadu, Tourism, Culture and Religious Department and others, reiterated that fraudulent or illegal encroachment of temple properties is a crime against the society at large. The Madras High Court has recently decided on whether live-in couples can move family court seeking remedy to disputes arising out of the arrangement. While pulling up the Greater Chennai Corporation for its failure to take adequate measures to prevent inundation of the city during rain, the High Court of Madras said that for half of the year we are ready to cry for water and for another half we are made to die in water. Next, we have the Calcutta High Court. The Calcutta High Court, in the case of Harji Engineering Works Private Limited versus Hindustan Steel Works Construction Limited, while adjudicating upon a commercial suit, discussed in detail whether a statement of truth in a written statement is a mandatory requirement under the Commercial Courts Act 2015 and whether its absence warrants the disposal of the defence in the suit. Next, we have the Kerala High Court. The Kerala High Court, in the case of Ceci Xavier versus State of Kerala and others, while dismissing the anticipatory bail application, filed in a fake lawyer case, remarked that a lawyer owes paramount responsibility to his client first and to the court second. The Kerala High Court, in the case of Ligi Paul versus Maria Kutti and others, has ruled that Section 53A of the Transfer of Property Act 1882 is not applicable in respect of an agreement for sale which is void in nature. The bench, while dismissing a second appeal, remarked, "It may be noted that Section 53A of the Transfer of Property Act is applicable only where the contract for transfer is valid in all respects. It must be an agreement enforceable by law under the Indian Contract Act 1872. Next, we have miscellaneous news. The Bar Council of India has written to State Bar Council of Delhi seeking issuance of directions to lawyers to immediately withdraw the call for complete abstinence from judicial work in district courts across the state on 9th November 2021. The Competition Commission of India issued a final order on 29th October 2021 against 6 firms which were found to have contravened the provisions of Section 3, Subclause 1 of the Competition Act 2002, read with Section 3, Subclause 3D thereof, which prescribe anti-competitive agreements. Next, we have the international news. In a partial victory for spouses of immigrant workers in the US, they will no longer need to apply for work authorization. A US court reached a settlement for a class action lawsuit directing the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services to allow up to 180 days auto extension on work authorization for spouses of L1 and H1B visa holders. A crew member who witnessed the fatal shooting on the Rust movie set last month filed a negligence lawsuit against actor Alec Baldwin and the film's producer Serge Svetnoy. The chief electrician on the set in Santa Fe, New Mexico, accused the producers and others of failing to implement safety standards and of allowing a revolver loaded with live ammunition to be pointed at living persons on the Rust set, according to the civil lawsuit filed in Los Angeles. A federal judge in California tossed the lawsuit brought by big tech companies including Apple and Google over a US Patent and Trademark Office policy that reduced the number of patent disputes it considers. Thank you and have a nice day. This is a weekly program. To check more information, please see the description box, and to get weekly updates, like and subscribe the video.